or the year before, I read uh, an article by Gwern about perfumes. And I've been doing all these Fischer esterifications, and I'm starting to get more comfortable with just how to run these reactions. Not that the last one was successful or anything. And I'm really opening up to the idea of. So Lab Coats made a video where he recreated Coca-Cola. And obviously that video is like so sick. And the methodology for sampling different combinations of the I don't know if it was essential oils or the taste molecules that he put together to try to recreate Coca-Cola. And I was thinking, like, I remembered the Gwern article, and I was like, man, I should reread that. And I just totally opened up to the idea I should try to make a cologne or a perfume or something like that. And I reread the Gwern article, and it just made me realize, just like, smell is such an amazing. I mean, I was trying to read into, like, basically olfactory signal transduction. Turns out that, like, each neuron in a particular area where smells are transduced has these G-coupled protein receptors, and each neuron expresses its own. So it's like each neuron, I don't know exactly how true that is, but that's the kind of idea that I got. And there are databases of which receptors bind to which ligands, and they only have like 700 molecules and their associated binding, and they might even have binding affinity, but it might just be a Boolean of like, okay, it binds or it doesn't bind. I'm not so sure. But in any case, it turns out that most perfumeries, most people that make scents, obviously this is not the level what they start. That is like too low level, but obviously eventually it will be, right? Like, I mean, if it's a science, you obviously want to know the consequence of things. So you would want to know, okay, this molecule that I'm making, what is it binding to? And maybe like, how is it being transduced? Because, protein ligand affinity probably also tells you the rate at which the neuron fires or something like that. Anyway, that's like way into the weeds. The point that I'm trying to make, though, is imagine that I could make it. So there was one in there that was particularly eye-opening, or I should say nose-opening. It's particularly nose-opening to me, which is called Asphalt Rainbow. And I remember reading about Asphalt Rainbow when I first read the article, and I was like, God, that's so sick. But now that I'm into chemistry, it's like 1,000 times cooler. So basically what Asphalt Rainbow is it's the scent of like hot asphalt, like gasoline exhaust or car exhaust and stuff like that. And what's so amazing to me is I want to try to recreate the feeling of being a child and having a water fight on the blacktop. Like, there's just but it's like way more general than that, because it's like there's so many instances of like uniquely childlike experiences, and scent is so subconscious. Nobody pauses during the water fight to think, hey man, in 20 years I'm gonna think back to like how I felt, and this scent will just bring me right back there. And scent is unique in that way. I mean, I think really, like, people, I guess most people don't consider from the article scent to be art, or perfume to be art, but actually the complexity there, it's well, you could say, the vision and hearing and all that, that's very complicated too, not to downplay that, but olfaction is like really complicated, and in a like a unique way. I mean the eye and the ear are also crazy, but the point that I'm trying to make, yo, what's up, guys? Wait, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Is my mic working? I'm assuming it's working, guys. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is there are so many experiences where you don't stop and smell the roses, but when you smell the rose 20 years down the line, you remember that feeling. And that's why I think like scent has the potential to be really an amazing art form. So anyways, that's the idea. Is this summer I'll probably, and so I was reading about like what it takes to make a perfume, and uh you know, there's a lot of balancing. There's going to be a lot of sampling that it takes, um, and it turns out that so I don't know really what the best path is going to be. I think the best way forward is for me to take an experience and work backwards and try to create that rather than blindly synthesizing a bunch of molecules and try to mix them into something. That seems like the wrong approach. So I would prefer to work forward or backward from the feeling of what it felt like to be a kid in the blacktop playing with water guns, you know. So that's kind of gonna be where it's headed. I have no idea how to make it. I have no idea, but you know, I don't know how to do it, but that's the idea. I had this idea. I had to hop on here. All right, peace out. That's it.